I'm going to show you my scientifically proven morning routine to finally relieve morning anxiety. And I've been struggling with morning anxiety, especially anxiety, since 8 years of my life. Because when I was 10 years old, I got heavily bullied at school, and therefore I developed a generalized anxiety disorder. And I woke up every single day, like almost every single day, 5 to 6 times a week, having a panic attack. My heart was beating extremely fast, and I had these racing negative anxious thoughts. I wanted to go straight back to bed, and I had trouble breathing, and I literally couldn't get up, and I was dreading the day ahead. And I knew that when in the morning I have anxiety, the whole day was just filled with anxiety. I couldn't be productive, I couldn't be social, I literally couldn't do anything. So I just stayed inside, played video games, tried to distract myself from these feelings, and ultimately went nowhere. My grades got worse, I was not productive, and I missed out on so many great experiences just because I had this morning anxiety. And I was able to reduce it to having morning anxiety like 3 to 4 times a month. So from 5 to 6 times a week, right? So almost every single day, to having it like 4 or 5 times a month, which is a big accomplishment. And I'm super proud of that because, like I said, when I wake up in the morning and I experience anxiety, my whole day is over, right? How I wake up in the morning determines how I'm going to operate the entire day. And I've literally spent years researching and testing different routines, different like exercises and supplements and routines and breakfasts and fasting and all of that. And I packed it into this long form educational video. So you can be quite proud of yourself for actually clicking on this video and watching it for a minute, because I'm not going to show you any fancy edits. I'm not going to show you anything that's triggering a dopamine release. I'm just going to show you straight up what you can do, right, to reduce your morning anxiety, maybe to finally actually get rid of it so you can start to feel more calm, energized, and ready to take on the day without dreading it, without negative thoughts, without this pain inside of your chest and this dizziness. Okay? So, as you can see, this used to be me. And I was extremely ugly. I was struggling with anxiety. I just played video games all day long, jerked off 3 days a day, and was addicted to porn and also junk food because of my anxiety. I couldn't go outside during the times of Corona without putting a mask on my face because I was so socially anxious. And I was completely able to turn my life around by reducing all of the bad habits, cutting them out of my life completely, getting rid of all of my addictions. And I was able to just reduce my anxiety, and therefore I was able to start a business, get an amazing girlfriend, record videos every single day, work with amazing clients, and build a good looking body. And all of that was just because I reduced my anxiety. And by the end of this video, I hope you can make the same switch as me, not in 8 years, but in a few months. So let's get into it. First of all, why do you experience morning anxiety in the morning? Like I promised you, this video is backed by science, so I looked up a couple of videos, and this is backed by the video by Dr. Jin Woo Sung. So think of your cortisol as your body's natural morning booster, right? So when you wake up in the morning, you have the stress hormone inside of your body called cortisol, and it's supposed to make you alert, and it's supposed to make you ready for the day. And this, from an evolutionary perspective, was actually very helpful, right? Imagine you're like living in a tribe 1,000 years ago, and you wake up in the morning and you hear that like a bear's inside of your tribe, and it's trying to attack your children, right? So it makes sense that you instantly get alert, you instantly have the cortisol awakening response, right? All of the hormones in your body are going crazy. You have a lot of blood getting pumped into your muscles, so you can run away, you can fight the bear, or you can freeze, and you can potentially save your kids. So this response is a survival mechanism, and it should peak 20 to 30 minutes after waking up to give you energy. Right? Another thing is that when you wake up in the morning, you had to almost instantly, like go out into the wild and hunt. You had to collect berries, you had to, kill a deer, you had to, go on a hunt with your brothers and get food so you don't starve and you survive. And that's usually what you did like 20 to 30 minutes after waking up. And if it doesn't work right, if this cortisol awakening response isn't getting released at the right time or in the right amount, you wake up feeling tired, you wake up feeling anxious, and you don't feel refreshed. So you don't have to, you can't hate your morning anxiety. It's actually a good thing, right? But a couple of things in your body and maybe in your hormones got screwed up a little bit. So the cortisol awakening response is making you anxious instead of making you a bit alert and energized to take on the day. And different parts of your brain communicate to signals when it's time to wake up. So when you wake up, your brain is going crazy, and it's like signaling to your brain, hey, wake up. And you have like an inner body clock, right? Which is called a circadian rhythm. And that circadian rhythm, which is getting influenced by sunlight and, like also dark light, is basically determining when certain hormones get released. So if you have a good circadian rhythm, right, your body knows in the morning, you wake up every single day at 6. Okay, 20 to 30 minutes later, I have to release cortisol. And you go to bed at night, let's say at 10, and then your body knows, okay, I have to release melatonin and my adenosine builds up, right, which makes you sleepy. And when you have an inconsistent sleep schedule, or when certain things in your body, like your clock is a bit weird or fucked up, you get wrong hormones released at the wrong time. And a couple of symptoms are, right, from a morning cortisol awakening response, morning anxiety, no appetite in the morning, or you have intense sugar cravings, which I used to have, right? When I woke up in the morning, I just wanted to eat ice cream and do nothing basically, just play video games and distract myself. You have a coffee dependence, so you really crave caffeine. You want to feel more alert. You want to, right, like feel more alert and get rid of this tiredness. You also feel a bit grumpy, right? When I wake up in the morning, or when I used to wake up in the morning, I was grumpy as hell. I was screaming, not really screaming, but I was really snapping at my parents. And then, I had a whole argument, and I was having these negative, anxious thoughts about like going to school, which just made everything worse. And it's also hard to get moving, right? So you want to stay in bed. You're like, oh no, like I'm just going to press the alarm button. I don't really want to get up. And I had this for so long. I just, I knew I had to get up at 6, get ready, like do my morning routine and then head to school, but I just couldn't get out of bed. And I still struggle with this sometimes, right? I usually wake up between like 5 now and do 2 hours of work before I head to school, right? Because I go to school and I'm also an entrepreneur and I want to be as productive as possible. But sometimes in the morning, I just can't really be bothered to get out of bed, right? If you can relate to this, that might be the morning cortisol awakening response. And with what I'm about to show you, again, I said, I was able to reduce this from 5 to 6 times a week to almost every single day, sometimes even every single day for years, to 4 to 5 times a month. So here's how you can reduce your morning cortisol awakening response and your morning anxiety, backed by science and my routine that I've been following since a couple of months, and it's absolutely fantastic. So first of all, you want to wake up naturally, right? Because when you wake up and you get woken up by like your alarm, right? Or like your iPhone, it's making like this beep, 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 shit sounds, it's pissing me off. And it probably pisses you off as well. And it instantly puts you into like a fight, flight, freeze mode, right? Again, imagine you 1,000 years ago, you wake up and all you hear is like a loud noise, right? Like a bear screaming, a deer running away. Your whole tribe is like, like a house was caught on fire and everyone is screaming. And then you wake up and you're like, damn, what's going on? And your brain can't tell the difference between like a threat in your environment and your phone going off. So when your phone goes off and it makes this loud, annoying ass shit sounds, you can't help but to feel anxious. And it's way better to wake up naturally, which is also way healthier. So you can just buy like a sunrise alarm clock. They cost like 30 to 50 euros on Amazon, and you just put them on your desk right next to your bed. And in the morning, right, the light gets brighter and brighter and brighter until you wake up. Now, I was thinking about buying one, but I saw a couple of reviews, and you have to buy a quite expensive one for like 200 euros that are actually good. And I'm kind of scared of not getting woken up by the light. So this helps regulate your circadian rhythm and cortisol levels as well, right? We spoke about the inner body clock, and sunlight influences this circadian rhythm. So when you get sunlight into your eyes in the morning, it's signaling to your brain, okay, it's time to wake up. It's time to release the right amount of cortisol. It's time to, get ready for the day. And like 12 to 14 hours after I woke up and after I got sunlight into my eyes, I will go to bed. Okay? Also, you can use natural sunlight, which is what I do. I have a window right here, right on my left side, and I'm sleeping on my right side. So I just keep my window open, right? I have like these things that I can put over the window to cover it up so light doesn't shine into my room. I actually stopped doing that because at night it's usually dark outside, and in the morning at like 5, 6, I have like a lot of light shining through the window, and I most of the time wake up naturally just through the light. And this is already doing wonders. This did so much for me. When I wake up in the morning with an alarm clock, I'm already pissed off. But with sunlight, I'm just waking up naturally, right? I hear like the birds chirping outside. I hear a couple of people talking, maybe a couple of cars driving by, like the wind, or maybe when it's raining, I hear the rain, and I'm already way more at peace. Okay? So stop using your alarm clock and try to wake up using natural sunlight and natural sounds. If you can't do it right, buy in sunrise alarm clock for like 30 euros or buy a more expensive one for 200. It's for your mental health. It's absolutely amazing. And the next thing I do is getting up instantly, because I just used to lay in bed and wait for my anxiety, like panic attack to stop. Right? I literally couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was dying. I had this very big pain inside of my chest and it felt very tight. I had these racing negative thoughts. I was just like waiting for it to end. And that didn't work. I was just like paralyzed, laying in my bed for 10 minutes and doing nothing. And constantly having these negative, anxious thoughts, right? And you know that when you have anxiety, the negative, anxious thoughts that you have inside of your mind make your anxiety worse. And the anxiety, right? The physical symptoms like sweating or having a panic attack make these negative, anxious thoughts worse. So you have this vicious cycle and you have to escape that cycle as fast as possible. So a thing that is non-negotiable for me in the morning is instantly taking a cold shower. I've been doing this since 7, 8 months every single day, and I don't take hot showers anymore. I literally just shower once or twice during the day for 3 minutes, completely cold. And why am I doing that? Well, first of all, you become way more mindful because the cold water is kind of painful, right? It's kind of stressful, and it's releasing hormones inside of your body like adrenaline and cortisol. But wait, aren't those bad things, right? Aren't those making you more anxious? No, actually, because it can build up your stress tolerance, right? So you can kind of imagine like you can get resilient to your anxiety by exposing yourself to the cold, by getting used to the physical symptoms of stress. And then when you have anxiety again, you're like, oh, I know what this feels like. I have, like, my heart is beating very fast. I'm breathing very heavily. I have racing thoughts. Okay, this is not bad because I am used to it by exposing myself to cold water, like cold exposure, or running very hard, right? Doing a very hard workout, or deep breathing, which is also like releasing cortisol. It also raises your temperature, right? In the morning, you want to raise your temperature to wake up. And in the evening, you want to do the opposite. You want to cool your body down and take a hot bath or something like that to sleep better. And it also triggers the release of dopamine. And dopamine gets increased by like 250 to 500% when you take a cold shower. So what does it mean? Well, dopamine is like, it's not really the feel-good hormone, it's more like the pleasure and motivational hormone. So you increase your motivation and you're ready to take on the day. And on top of that, it's also kind of nice to have like this feeling of you already did something hard, like you already had a challenge, right? You know, like you can imagine your peers, your classmates, your co-workers are laying in bed, scrolling on TikTok, and you're already up there taking a cold shower, absolutely feeling refreshed and amazing, going through a bit of pain, right? And it's not even that hard. And then you're already like, damn, I'm a crazy motherfucker, like David Goggins style. Kind of like it builds your discipline because you don't want to do it. And this doesn't have to be long. You can literally just do it for like 30 seconds at the start. Just increase the temperature all the way to cold, or maybe just start at a bit colder than usual and work your way up. After some time, you get used to it. You can stay in there for like 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Don't stay in there too long, right? And check this with your doctor, of course. Another thing that I do after taking the cold shower is doing 5 to 10 minutes of HIIT, so high interval intensity training, a high intensity interval training, which is basically just like sprinting very heavily and then taking like a 30-second break, or doing rope skipping for like a minute, then taking a 30-second break, and I do that like 5 to 10 times. So very heavy bursts of exercise, right? No weightlifting, just like getting your body running, right? Basically cardio, and then having like a 20-30 second break, and then doing that again, and then a break again, and then doing that again. Like I said, you can run, you can do rope skipping, you can do jumping jacks, you can do mountain climbers, anything that gets your heart beat very fast and that makes you kind of sweat and stuff like that. Because that again increases your cortisol levels naturally. Right? That's not a bad thing because you get used to this response, and you can also regulate your cortisol levels with that. And on top of that, it's basically also releasing hormones that like dopamine, which is again the motivational hormone, and endorphins, which make you feel good, which can counter adrenaline and cortisol. So you start feeling better. Right? If you ever had like a very hard workout, you know after that you feel absolutely amazing and you're so glad that you did it. So if you have like low motivation when you want to do these things in the morning, which I can understand, I just remind myself of the reward that I will get. I'm like, I can either feel anxious all day long, get up tomorrow and experience another panic attack, or I can put myself through a bit of hardship right now, but feel better afterwards. And then I'm like, I'm willing to take this trade. I'm willing to endure 3 minutes of a bit of pain when taking a cold shower, or 5 minutes of exercise when I'm feeling amazing afterwards, it's going to benefit me for the next 12 to 14 hours that I am awake. I'm going to be more productive, more outgoing. I have a better energy, right? I can talk to people way better. I have better social skills, and I'm just feeling like a more present, open, and caring person. Now, another thing that you can do, which is kind of optional, is just instantly start to work. After you've done these things, you work on like your most important task, or like a flow state task. So a task that makes you very present in the moment, where you have zero thoughts in your mind, where you can kind of just like focus and do something very important. Like for me, that's recording videos, working with my clients, or working on my product. Now, of course, if you're working like a 9 to 5, or you're going to school, this doesn't really apply, because after you doing your morning routine, you probably go to school or work anyway. But me as an entrepreneur, I have to do all of that work in the morning and work for myself. Now, another thing that I experimented with was journaling, and that is also optional. I don't do it anymore, but it was very beneficial for me. Right? I literally have 3, 4 notebooks and stuff like that. You just write down everything that you're worried about. You just do basically like a brain dump, right? All of these negative thoughts that you have inside of your head, you just write them down. You just brain dump. You just write everything, let everything out, which can just give you a lot of mental clarity. Or you can just plan your day ahead, right? So you write down exactly what you want to do that day. Or you can do a protocol which is backed by science to reduce trauma and anxiety and depression, where you write about a traumatic experience for 15 to 30 minutes, right? The most traumatic experience. And you try to be really accurate, right? You want to describe the facts, the emotions, people involved in everything. And you don't want to pay attention to grammar, spelling. If someone can read it, nothing. And you can, of course, meditate, which is a thing that I've been doing again. I was always doing breath work, right? Because I was convinced that meditation doesn't really work for me. I've talked about that before. So I did breath work every single day. 10 minutes of like Wim Hof breathing, very deep breathing, holding your breath. But I reverted back to meditating because I've been meditating now for like 6 days in a row, every single day, and I already got so much more mindful of my thoughts. So when I wake up in the morning, I still get these anxious thoughts, negative thoughts. I become aware of them, right? I'm like, oh, Marlon, why are you thinking that something bad will happen today? Or why are you thinking that you will fail this test? And then I put an automatic, like a manual thought into my mind, and I say, hey, stop thinking this, stop being a bitch, right? You're confident, you can do this, you've done it before. Stop thinking this way. You suffer more in imagination than in reality, right? And the next step is breakfast. Personally, I am fasting 16 hours of the day and have like an 8-hour eating window. So that means I start eating at like 12 o'clock until 8 p.m. And I don't eat before or after that. So I don't have a breakfast, I'm fasting. Now, if you do want to eat a breakfast, which is also scientifically proven to help with anxiety when your body is full, right? When your body has resources, because you can kind of imagine, right? Your body is running on overdrive when you are anxious, right? You have the fight, flight, freeze response. All of the hormones are getting released. You have a lot of energy, and your body needs fuel, right? It's kind of like a car speeding at like 130 hours per mile. You need fuel inside of your car, or it would run out. So you have to eat and fuel your car, your body. First of all, no caffeine until 1.5 hours after waking up, right? I love coffee. I drink coffee every single day. If you're already having a lot of symptoms of anxiety, I could imagine that it would help you to completely reduce your anxiety or cut it out. Reduce your caffeine intake or completely cut it out. Because when you have anxiety, right, it's kind of like drinking caffeine is kind of like putting gasoline onto a fire and then it explodes, because drinking a lot of caffeine has similar bodily and physical sensations as experiencing anxiety. So you can make it worse. But if you do like to drink coffee like me, drink it 1.5 hours after waking up, because that aligns the effects of caffeine with your natural body clock, which again is responsible for the cortisol awakening response. And you also don't want to drink caffeine too early in the morning, because then the receptors, the adenosine receptors, right? When you wake up in the morning, you have this hormone called adenosine, which builds up over the day and which makes you sleepy. And when you instantly drink coffee in the morning, or you consume any form of caffeine, it doesn't really work because the receptors are blocked. And then you get like this midday crash where you start to feel really tired, and you want to avoid that. Okay? If you do eat breakfast, right, which you can totally do, I like to fast, also because of productivity and focus reasons. And by the way, I eat carnivore, so I mostly eat meat and animal products. You can eat a breakfast with a lot of protein and healthy fats, okay? Not too many carbs, and try to just cut out sugar out of your diet, because then you get blood sugar spikes, and that also makes your mood very unstable, right? So you go up and down with your mood, and your blood sugar levels go up and down, which is not good. So you can eat like eggs, avocado, and whatever meat. If you're vegetarian, you can try like supplements and whatever. You know what to eat, right? Don't eat anything that's unhealthy, right? You can look at a food and within a second you can tell if it's unhealthy or not, right? Pancakes with like honey, you know it's not that healthy. Cornflakes cereal, you know it's not that healthy. A toast with Nutella or like a chocolate, hot chocolate, it's not that healthy, right? So you know what's good for you or not, right? One guideline that I can give you for eating and especially breakfast is just eating ingredients that are whole foods basically, just that have just one ingredient, right? When you look at the list of the ingredients of potato, it's literally saying nothing because it's just potato. But if you look at fries or crisps or whatever, it has a bunch of different chemicals that you can't even pronounce. And if there's something in your food that you can't even pronounce, I personally wouldn't eat it. Okay. Now, the night before, which is also very important. First of all, you want to have a clear routine in the evening, right? Then the night before you go to bed, that's telling your brain, signaling to your brain, it's time to sleep. So for me, I do like a hard cut. I'm working all day long, I'm studying, right? And I don't want to go to bed in like overdrive, still in work mode. So I take like a 30-minute, 1 hour walk. Sometimes I even take a cold shower just to signal to my brain, hey, it's time to relax, it's time to wind down. No work mode anymore, no thinking, just relax. Okay? You also want to avoid food 3 hours before going to bed. You don't want to be full, your body wants to rest, right? And also no water 2 hours before, which is a quite hard rule that I'm still getting used to. But if you drink water, just sip it so you don't have to get up at night and pee. And try to use no phone 1 hour before bed or no blue lights. So no TV, no phone, nothing. Because when you get blue light into your eyes in the evening, it's basically signaling to your brain that it's still daytime, and then your body is not releasing melatonin, which is the sleep hormone, and then you will sleep way worse. Also, make sure you have a very dark room, right? So a test that you can do is basically put your hand in front of your eyes in a dark room, and if you can't see your hand, that's optimal. If you can still see your hand like a bit, right? You can see like the edges of your hand, that's fine. But if you can completely see your hands, then it's probably a bit too bright. But don't worry about this too much. Just make sure it's quite dark. And you also want to have a cold room, right? When you're sleeping at night, you sometimes put like a leg out or like you put the blankets away. That's because the temperature in your body is rising when you're sleeping. So you want to have a cold room so you don't wake up sweating and very hot. So the optimal range is like 18 Celsius. So I could tell you to like install an air conditioning device or something like that. I don't even do that. I just keep my window open at night, even during summer times here in Germany. A lot of fresh air gets in, and I'm just sleeping like almost naked, just with my underwear on, and I don't use blankets during the summer. Okay? And a thing that is also non-negotiable for me is writing down what I have to do next day, the morning, and the night before that. I just create like a little document on my Notion page, and I write down, okay, wake up at 4, at 5 and 6, 7, create content, at 8, 9, talk to my client, at 10, 11, go to school, whatever, make a workout, do a workout, go on a walk, speak to a client, work on my product, or whatever. And why am I doing this? Well, because you have a conscious and unconscious brain, right? Your conscious brain is everything that you pick up with your 5 senses and which you're basically aware of and what you're thinking. And you can only process 7 bits of information with this part of your brain at once. But below that, 95% to 99.5% is unconscious, right? So it's basically the things that are regulating your heartbeat. You're not consciously thinking about, hey, my heart has to beat, right? It's like happening automatically. And when you write on what you have to do the night before you go to bed, your subconscious brain is working on those tasks and coming up with solutions and ways and creative things to solve those problems and to actually do those tasks. Because when you're sleeping, you're not aware, right? Your unconscious brain is at work, and then it's solving all of these problems, coming up with solutions. And then you wake up in the morning, you're like, while you have like a cold shower, you're like, I have a new video idea, or I know what I have to do about this client, or I just found an idea how to make my product better, or I just found a nice new strategy that I want to teach to other people, or whatever it might be. So write down your tasks and exactly what you have to do the day before. And this is also reducing your stress. When you wake up in the morning and you're already feeling like quite anxious, right? Which you hopefully won't anymore by following this routine. You have a clear plan laid out and you know exactly what to do. Because uncertainty is also fueling anxiety, when you're feeling uncertain, when you don't know what's about to happen next, when you're constantly thinking about like a perceived problem or something about the future, but you're not really sure if it will happen or not, you start to feel anxious. So having a clear routine, writing it out the day before, right the night before you go to bed, and then following it in the next morning is very important. And that's basically my routine. Now, if you need help applying these strategies and if you want to reduce your generalized anxiety disorder in just 30 days, you can click on the first link in the description to book a free coaching call with me. I will help you. And if you like my approach, you can hop on and work with me. If not, continue to enjoy my free content. Thanks for watching and please take action.